like we just said, the sevens have gotten underway, so that's not going to affect the rankings here a great deal. But we did have those rugby championship games. Now, we do go through the top 30 here on the podcast. So in 30, we do have Germany, who actually did pretty well in sevens. I'm not going to lie. We'll talk about that in a second. But Germany actually did really well in sevens. Switzerland in 29. In 28 was Chile. 27, Belgium. But Chile do have a nice little World Cup qualifier coming up in the 15s very soon. 27, Belgium. 26 is Brazil and Namibia in 25. Netherlands, 24. 23 is Russia. 22 is Hong Kong. 21, Canada. Hong Kong also sneaky in the sevens, actually. Just want to throw that out there. Spain, number 20. Portugal, 19. Romania in 18. Uruguay as the number 17. USA in 16. Tonga in 15. Italy in 14. Samoa in 13. 12 is Georgia. 11 is Fiji. 10 is the Japanese. Wales is number 9. And then we get to Argentina in number 8. They have dropped from 7 to 8 without playing a game. The Scottish have gone up to 7th. They're on 82.02. And the Argentines are on 81.52. The Argentina falling down. I did say it. No one likes to listen to Blazy, though. Number 6 is France. Number 5 is Ireland. 4 is England. 3 is the greatest team of all time, the Wallabies. Number 2 is South Africa, and number 1 is New Zealand. What are we thoughts? What are we thoughts, mate? Not what are our thoughts? What are we thoughts? Kiwi lads, what are your thoughts?
I think Kieran's feeling a little bit flat, to be honest. But also, we're seeing Argentina, they've dropped 1 rating, unfortunately for them. But it's a big game this weekend because it is considered the home game of Argentina. So if the Wallabies win that, they have got the chance of possibly dropping Argentina to the next spot down. Because where are Wales in terms of that kind of...
I don't know, man. Wales are 80.59. Argentina are 81.52. So they're basically a full point above them, which isn't crazy. But the thing is that when you're a low-ranked team going up against a high-ranked team, Argentina are 8th, Australia are 3rd, it won't be a significant impact, I don't believe, unless it's a huge result, like, a 50-point win. I don't know, actually. There is actually a website where you can find out what scores are needed to put them down and whatnot. But we speak for 2 hours here on this podcast anyway, regardless of doing that. So I don't think we need to go and do that. But, do you think that do you think Argentina will go below Wales? Or do you think that's probably likely in the coming weeks?
I think it's only dependent on those kind of Northern Hemisphere games that we get to see. Because Wales, we got to remember, they're going to be playing the All Blacks, the Wallabies, Fiji, South Africa. So all they need is 1 upset out of those ones, and they will well and truly rocket themselves upwards. Same with Scotland. They have also got quite a few of those big matches coming up. So losing those games up against the really high-ranked teams, like you mentioned, doesn't really do too much in terms of your rating. So if they can get a big win, though, that will definitely shoot them upwards in the right direction towards maybe that top 7 or 6. Who knows, depending on how high it goes.
Looking at these rankings right now, is there any changes you would make? Like, what would you adjust right this second in regards to the top, 11, 12? Yeah, there's no point using Georgia there, so top 11.
Okay, so at the moment, can I know the split once again between the All Blacks and the Springboks?
South Africa is 90.27 and New Zealand is 91.83. So
I guess the big thing,
1.6 realistically.
The big thing here is South Africa can still take that number 1 spot back if they have a good game this weekend up against the All Blacks, perhaps, depending on if they can run away with it. But I think more than likely that is how that's going to be staying for the top 2. Australia in 3rd, still very impressive, although it all depends on how that next game up against Argentina goes, because if Australia lost that, I believe they'd drop back down to that kind of 5th mark.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No. Oh, maybe not. They might not drop below Ireland. They're on 86.16 and Ireland are on 84.85. So it's about a 1.3. Oh, no, you could, because obviously Argentina are in 8. So that would be a significant drop there for Australia. But obviously we will talk about that game there. And I definitely can't see Argentina winning that game anytime soon.
Right, okay.
If that was the performance that Australia put up and they still won by that much, I can tell you right now with wholehearted certainty that Argentina, if they put up another performance like that, mate, they won't be jumping any spots. anytime soon. So, I think that's all we need to do with the World Rugby rankings here. Because I guess for me, the only interesting part around this rugby rankings right now, because I believe New Zealand is number one. I honestly could see South Africa, if they don't get their shit together, to be blunt, if they don't get their shit together, we honestly could see at the end of this year them dropping even further.
Yeah. Because that gap's slowly getting thinner and thinner between them.
I just don't think it's a joke anymore. Like, it's not a joke anymore. We're not just going to sit here and say, oh, South Africa are easily locked up in second, and South Africans won't like it. But I think down deep, that it's the truth here. That South Africa, they've lost now 3 games in a row. Three games in a row they've lost now. And there's a good, solid chance they could lose 4 games in a row. And do you know who their first European Tour game is against?
I believe they have actually got... Or I'm going to actually look it up.
Dangerous. Yeah. Go and look it up. If it's England, it's very dangerous. Ireland, I think they would definitely beat Ireland, and I think they would beat Wales. But I think, because obviously South Africa already beat the British and Irish Lions, which is pretty dominant by Wales players there. But I think that South Africa, if they played England, I honestly could see. I don't think England's great right now, though. Honestly, both those teams are the teams that I'm kind of feeling the weakest about in the top 4, right? Well, top 5 right now, I guess.
Yeah, so they play Wales, then they play Scotland, then they play England.
That's a lot easier than starting off with England.
Yeah, so that's on the 7th of November, their first game, and then it's kind of back-to-back weeks with Scotland, and then England on the 21st of November.
Then again, I'm not as high on Wales as a lot of other people are, but like, do you feel like Wales or England is a tougher team right now? Because obviously 4th and 9th, I don't look at that, because Wales aren't realistically 9th right now. Realistically, Argentina are. They're not. You can go as far as 9th at this current point, but you know what I want to say. But I would say Argentina are 9th, and I would definitely put Wales up further. I'd actually put Wales above. I don't believe in them as highly as everyone else does, but I'd probably put them in 5th.
Because I think for name-wise, England have got kind of the more solid squad with all those young players also coming through, but then Wales are one of those sides you can't really underestimate.
There's a lot more safety in the English team.
They have certainly got they've got quite a few players who weren't in form for the Six Nations, but then British and Irish Lions tour, quite a few of those players started. I want to say finding just that little bit more kind of momentum within like their own kind of playing ability, the likes of an Anthony Watson or someone who didn't really get much game time at all throughout that kind of tour. I feel like he will be good to go for that game up against the Springboks. Also, England, they're going to be taking on a couple other opponents, aren't they? They're going to have Australia, of course.
That's a big game, yeah.
Do they get anyone else? I feel like there should be one more team that they get to face at some stage. Yeah.
Sure, they play the All Blacks, don't they? Oh, I think we might have asked this. I think I said this last week, and you said no, they don't.
Oh, they've got Tonga as their first game.
Oh no, the English did not have Tonga. Stop it.
So that's the game that they've got scheduled for that weekend.
If you're listening to this, I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh at you, but you did lose a couple of weeks ago at 102-0 to the All Blacks. You know what I'm saying? There's a bit of a question mark around. Anyway, I'm not going to sit here and do that. But look, I think that's going to do us for the World Rugby rankings today, unless you've got anything else to say about them.
No, I think it's just going to be definitely switching around a lot when it comes to those games in only around a month's time that we are going to get to see all of those internationals kicking off North versus South, which is very exciting indeed.
Yeah, well, I can't wait for the Wallabies to be number 1. But let's move into